Alright goblins, my name is the Meta Goblin, and today I'm having like a little bit of a rant. So you may have seen the video title and jumped into this video thinking, you know, obviously games are released these days. What is this absolute nutter talking about? So I'm going to say four things, right? I'm going to say these four things, and hopefully after I say these four things you will completely understand the video title and we'll be on the same page. First thing, DLC. Second thing, early access. Third thing, free-to-play games. Fourth thing, episode games. So let's start talking about DLC in the video game franchise. I don't have a problem with DLC. There's great examples of DLC, like basically all the Elder Scrolls games DLC. That's how DLC should be done, right? But let's take this case study for example, Star Wars Battlefront. I won't talk about it too much because we all know about it. Basically, Star Wars Battlefront, very rushed and unfinished game. Basically, you play it for about 5 hours, and you pretty much already experienced the entirety of the game before it becomes repetitive, and it costs $60. You're paying $60 for a 5 hours game, right? The other day I spent 70 pence on Two Worlds, very old RPG. I've played it for about 10 hours now. I'm nowhere near to completing it and fully experiencing it and enjoying it. Okay, 10 hours, 70 pence. 5 hours, $60. You know what I mean? You know, and there's also the option when Star Wars Battlefront was released to turn it into like a 10-hour game by paying like another $50. But you won't get those extra 5 hours for another half year. I mean, how can you call that a game? How can you call it a game? That's not a game at all. And to be honest, like, these DLC, they don't really add anything. They just add like some new heroes and some fucking new skins and shit. It's not real content. I mean, you may be watching this video thinking, oh my god, here we go, the liberal pothead complaining about capitalism and people making money. I don't have a problem with game developers making money, right? I'm not the most liberal person on the planet, right? And just because you're liberal doesn't mean that you have problems with people making money. Anyway, that's dangerous. I mean, I don't have a problem with game developers making money. That's obviously what they're trying to do, right? But why can't they make money by making a quality game instead of using rogue tactics like exploiting pre-popular franchises and spending as little time possible developing the game to reduce running costs to maximise profit, right? At the end of the day, the joke is on them, because no matter how many rogue tactics you use, a good game is always going to make more money than a bad game, right? And unfinished and rushed games, strangely enough, are bad games. It's almost like game developers have forgotten how to actually make money and do their fucking job. Right, let's talk about early access games. Early access games like just completely infuriate me these days, and I try to avoid them like the plague. It's fair enough, like, you get these game developers who are a fairly small company and they want to like make a little bit of money to keep, you know, the project alive. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with that if basically the early access price is the same as the actual full release price. I think these early access games should be severely reduced or completely free with a donation option or something like that, because at the end of the day, when you order a steak at a restaurant, the waiter doesn't come up and give you half a steak and say, okay, you've got to pay for this steak and we'll give you the rest like in a year or so. And the thing is with these early access games, to say, oh, we'll only be in early access for about a year tops, and then you're looking at it's like fucking 5 years later and this game is still in early access or beta build, and people are making money with an unfinished game. I just don't fucking understand that. Why not fully develop a game, do your fucking job, right, and then release a game and then make money? What's wrong with that? Like, here's another scenario. My stepdad, he ordered builders to work on the edge of his house. Basically, the edge of your house used to show all the old brick. He didn't want that. He wanted it pebble dashed, right? The builders did a shit job. It was a half-assed, rushed job. And guess what happened? My stepdad took them to fucking court, right, to get his money back. They went to court for doing a half-assed, rushed job. I mean, these early access developers, these fucking EA, they need to go to court because they're making money by doing rushed stuff and doing stuff badly. I just don't get it. And free-to-play games, what really infuriates me about free-to-play games, right? Sometimes I think this is a good game. A lot of free-to-play games are good games. I'm like, I just want to pay for this game. I want to pay for it, and then I want to play it. Right? I want to pay like £30 for this game, and then I just want to play it for the rest of my life. But what these free-to-play games do is that, right? It's free-to-play, but you have to spend like $200 for you to actually fully experience the game and play the game normally. And I'm like, why can't I just pay 20 quid? I mean, the free-to-play model is to encourage people to basically jump on, into the game and download the game, like, to get more people to actually start playing the game and then try and make a bit more money out of them later on. But it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. People want to pay money, right? People want to pay money and then get what their money's worth. People don't want to just fucking spend too much money on a game that isn't, really worth it. And that's what a free-to-play game really is. And these episode games, which is a new thing, for like more story-focused games, I guess, single-player games. I just been reading reviews for the new Hitman game, right? And people are saying that basically they said that there's absolutely no problem with buying the games as they go. So you could buy like 3 episodes, and if you get bored of the game, you don't really like it, then you don't have to buy the other episodes. And people are complaining that you don't have access to all the content unless you pay all the episodes up front. So basically spending money for a service that you haven't even got yet. I mean, at a restaurant, you don't turn up, right, and then pay the money and then get the meal. You just don't do that. You pay for what you're given, right? Unless you're like sitting outside and there's a risk of you dying and dashing, but there isn't really a risk of a video game player dying and dashing when he like gets a game. I mean, it's stupid, right? It's just, I just want to pay for a game and get a game. I mean, why can't we do that anymore? Like, if you look, maybe the last decade, so year 2000 to 2010, there wasn't really, I'm not saying there wasn't any free-to-play games, there was a lot less. And in that decade, games just came out, you pay for them, and then you got them, right? And that was it. Now it's just, do you even buy games anymore? I mean, obviously there are exclusions. What have we got? Doom 3. That was a fully fledged game, as far as I'm aware. I mean, a lot of people like that game. Fallout 4 was a fully fledged game, but extremely stripped, to be honest, in role-playing features. Not extremely, just like slightly. I think that was a bit harsh. But yeah, I mean, like, I literally cannot remember, think of the top of my head, like the last time a good role-playing game really came out. Got, I guess, Dark Souls 3, Fallout 4, and then back then all I can think about is Skyrim. I mean, really, I should be able to think of a really good role-playing game coming out at least every year or half a year, but it just doesn't happen. You just don't get fully developed games even coming out these days. Barely. So anyway, that's pretty much the end of my rant. I mean, you can think I'm talking a load of shit, that's fine, and you can argue against me into the ground in the comment section. Just make sure you're just polite about it, otherwise I'm not going to take it seriously. And but yeah, it's just my opinion. It's not going to harm anyone, and that's about it, guys. My name is the Meta Goblin. Until my next video, ciao.